for the women and children, because that's what happens. Billy
Yep.
doesn't get killed, but the girl and the kid does. So, like it starts off nicely with like that undertone of racism vibes. But I think what happens with Helen though is I think she doesn't really know if she believes it or not. She's definitely intrigued. That's why we have these like excessive fascination looks of her and these close-up shots. But then when the serial killer gets caught and it's all said and done, she's like, okay, cool. So yeah, now I really I don't believe in it because case closed. This was the story. It was this guy that just beat me up. And that's when Candyman is like, hello.
Oh, wow.
I come for you.
Be my victim.
Be my victim. Oh my word. So good.
That's interesting. Okay, yeah. So do you think if his name would have stayed out there and it wouldn't have been proven to be a serial killer, he would have gone after her? Because he said, you did this, now we have to do this. You're the one that wrecked my myth. So
because she basically got the serial killer. Like when the killer who mutilated the kid in the bathroom like beat her up, they got him for it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So then, man, that guy's bad news too, wasn't he? Jeez Louise.
Yeah, it's funny that they got like it's only Todd lookalike type guy.
Yeah.
That was also pretty funny. I mean, interesting. Oh, by the way, you also you probably read also that when Helen and Bernadette the first time they go to Cabrini Green and like the gang members that meet them outside and then they later they start like, who are you? They're checking them out. And then they start yelling, it's the 5-0, it's the police.
Yeah.
Like, God, the ladies coming up the stairs. They're actually like real gang members that they used of Cabrini. Like they were like, let's incorporate these guys, which I thought was kind of cool because like, again, like it's so much exploitation and whatever. So like rather include these guys in the film. I thought that was pretty cool with the actual production of the film.
Yeah, and it adds
and
authenticity.
I love their tracksuits.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love their tracksuits. The
those are the
blue and
best.
teal and pink. Oh, I live for it. I live for the wardrobe in general. The coats. I want all the coats in that movie. All the coats.
I looked up actually I have the costume designer on here somewhere. So the costume designer, where's he at? I said I had it, now I can't find it. Great. Never mind.
It's okay. Digressing again. What were we talking? We were talking about wood, yeah.
Oh, no, the guy, Leonard Pollock, he had worked on Waxwork and Candyman 3 before. Hadn't done too many jobs, I guess, but he came from Waxwork as well.
Huh.
That's the same crew.
Waxwork.
The same crew together.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love the authenticity. We did a Warriors episode about the Warriors, and they had to hire gangs to help them deal with the gangs in every street they shot on. So you have to make a deal with these crews. And I mean, they said they found bullets and generators in other areas. I mean, you kind of have to. But it looks great though, those overhead shots. So they use that neat technology. I found out that Skycam, and it looks neat with the music playing. Like you're driving through this concrete, just sort of drab gray landscape. But I do think it makes Cabrini green. They said it makes it look like a majesty, like a mesmerizing Gothic church or an ancient sinister pyramid. Because it really does stick out next to the skyscrapers over there. So it was so wise to use that overhead shot. And also with the red car driving, maybe that was a bit of a Shining take. He had the red.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just that overhead technology. I don't know. This movie had a pretty big budget too. I think it was $9 million back in the day. So it's like 20-some million for this. That's pretty impressive for a horror film nowadays. If James Wan is making Insidious for $1 million, then this is actually pretty good.
It's not bad at all.
No.
It's not bad at all. I know they were only shooting in Cabrini Green for like 3 days. Even Tony Todd was like, it was actually pretty creepy because they had to have like a lot of people go with them. But it's interesting to read about Todd's experience in general. Like, he's like, yeah, a positive thing that came out of it was like he got to work with a lot of like, do a lot of gang interventions and stuff. Work with the guys, open a dialogue, do all that stuff. He also said in one interview that he's had clan members come up to him and tell him that they love how he kills people in the movie. I'm like, what the hell? So he's also like, he's just said like, it's been very interesting. He loves the love for Candyman, but it's also been a very weird, like, how could you expect something like that to happen after the fact, Like, you don't know. You're just like doing this fun movie. He was just so stoked to do a movie with Bernard Rose. Like, yeah.
Wow. And so you said clan members came up to him and they said that they loved the way he killed?
Yeah, I'll go check out. I'll go look for the article and I'll send it to you. Like, but he said in one interview, like he had clan members come up to him and be like, "We love how you kill people in that movie," and he was just like, "What?" Which, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the reaction to that happening. But also
Wow.
back to like the architecture and stuff. So yeah, the book, the movie it's based on, the What Book of Blood, Clive Barker short story, and that story actually begins with, let me quickly read it. Like a flawless tragedy, the elegance of which structure is lost upon those suffering in it. The perfect geometry of the Spectre Street estate was only visible from the air. That's the first sentence of that story, and I just love that. I think it's such a beautiful sentence to open it with, and it really, if you read that, you're like everything. You understand so much about how they filmed it, all the architectural shots, even that where the campus, where Helen and everyone is, the campus. Like they kept on doing that shot, and I was like, yeah, okay, why? But then when you go read the short story, you can see, okay, that's where Rose got that from, and like you start appreciating, like showing it from above because we're within, like we can't see from above, like we need to like Google Maps, Street View stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. Like I just love how they did the cinematography in general. It's like a lot of cool angles in the movie. Not only the overhead stuff, a lot of cool angles.
There's an interesting quote. We did a Night of the Comet episode, and the director was like, "You just need 3 wide shots to sell it," and I think they got a lot more than that, but they really sold it. Like, right? They kind of went out of their way to make it something different. Hey, I'm going to change the subject real quick, but I just found a quote
Yeah.
from Bernard Rose where he said, "I'm rather bored with happy endings. They reduce the sense of danger. It's like having the absolute feeling that, however complicated or convoluted the problem any character may be going through in a movie, you feel so confident in most movies that at the end there's going to be everything's going to be solved, and so there's no
Yeah.
suspense to the story anymore." But no, I think that's true. I mean, this is not a good ending for her. I mean, wait, are you supposed to cheer that her ex gets killed? Like, this isn't a happy ending. Is she with Candyman now?
Yeah, she's part of his like story for sure. But yeah, like I really like the non-happy ending.
Have you seen that movie Vacancy where Luke Wilson gets stabbed about 18 times and 8 hours later he still wakes up? And you're like, oh, come on.
No?
Oh,
What?
we were in a theater, and so we were watching Vacancy with Kate Beckinsale and Luke Wilson. And there's a scene where he gets stabbed and he's left for dead. He gets gutted. And Kate Beckinsale has to run around all night battling people. She comes back to him hours later, and my buddy just goes, "Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it." And then he goes,
Yeah.
And you're like, no!
Uh,
Like, it takes you
yeah,
out.
that's the worst.
And in this
No,
movie,
that's the worst.
she's rescuing a baby, and then she gets burnt to, like, smithereens with her head, her hair becomes completely burnt. And you're just, like, it's such a, oh, and then you have
You
the
know,
strobe lights at the end.
you know what? Like, leave that stuff for like romantic comedies or like, like stuff like that, but not like horror stuff. I don't like that in my horror. It's the same with Get Out. I like when I heard the alternative ending where, yeah, he went to jail. I was like, that checks out. That makes more sense. That would probably punch harder anyways. And like, because I know, a lot of people want, but I just want my happy ending. Life is so like horrible and whatever. But then go watch your romantic comedy. Like, horror is it's horror is like deals with a lot of deep, real fears and stuff that like it's not the time to look away now. It's the time to look at the screen and like be real about it, kind of. So I mean, I was all for like, because I also saw that quote, that interview that Rose did where he said, "No, screw the happy endings," and I was like, my man.
Right?
Agreed.
like I love Drag Me to Hell because, spoiler, it's one of my favorite horror movies, but she gets dragged to hell.
Yeah.
It's so literal.
There you go.
And the descent, like you don't know how that ends. Like these people are
Yes.
terrorized. There's not going to be a. I mean, I guess if you're telling, okay, I guess if there's a serial kill, like I guess if there's a stalker movie, like a Halloween, you probably should have a final person, final girl. But
Look, it works in some cases. Like
yeah,
I'm thinking immediately, like Hush from my Flanagan. In some
mm,
cases that works because like that is the point of her story. Like what needs to happen to get you out of it? Like I mean, when the whole thing's a bloody metaphor for life or whatever, then sure, but it doesn't always like work. And I think forcing it into horror is one of the worst things you can do. Sometimes it will work, but sometimes it won't. And I just think anyone that thinks Get Out ends with, oh, they're going to be fine,
how do you
is
explain that to the
like,
cops?
are you delusional? Do
Yeah.
you live in this world? In, like,
Like, how do you explain that? I was watching The Shape of Water,
Exactly.
and I'm like, how are these two going to explain a dead, high-ranking military official and a disappeared woman who went into a thing with a sea monster? Like, they're going to be in trouble. You can't.
Exactly. And I mean, like, I'm sure I read this somewhere also, but because I mean, there's a lot of other people that were at that party that knows the guy that's going to come after him now because they don't want him to rat out on them. Because he only killed the
Oh,
Armitage family, not every single person that was at that bloody party. So, like,
wow.
guys fucked.
Yeah, that's that sequel. This is the
It's not
court
a happy
case.
ending,
A
people.
few good men.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Life's shit. Let's try and make it better. That's the bloody point.
Man, that would. Do you think the movie would have been that much of a blockbuster if it had such a? It probably wouldn't have, right? Because I think people left the theater smiling. You know what's interesting too about all those at the end? People were actively cheering when he was murdering all those people, and so I think
Mm.
people left on like a happy high. But that arrest would have crashed everybody, so I wonder if that would have prevented word of mouth, or would have hurt the cinema score or audience score.
I do wonder about it too, because like, I mean, I think the way Jordan did, like, because it is satire,
Hmm.
and it was a lot of like fun moments in it too, really. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, maybe. I mean, people apparently just need to have their little blankies around them and tell them, you're doing okay. You're doing okay.
Not Helen didn't do okay. I'll tell you what though, she got everything taken from her in this.
A lot of people aren't doing okay. Those two boys aren't okay, you guys. But let's pretend they are. Yeah, no, and back to Candyman. No, I mean, I think with Helen, the book story actually also like explains it pretty cool because you're obviously in her head and whatever. And it's like that whole thing of do you want to live on in like a fame type of vibe or like should everyone just forget about you? And initially she was like, no, just like forget about me. I don't bloody care. But then she like changes her mind as she gets into the whole like, well, basically when Candyman puts the bees into her
Oh
because that's
gosh.
what he does. Like,
Yeah.
give us a kiss, give us a stinger.
Oh, worst ever.
Ah. So yeah, and she kind of transitions into that thing of, well, like maybe also like the words you say about it's so much better to be like a whisper and not actually having to live. Because I mean that's actually a very sad thing because like what he's saying is living is so much suffering and pain. So it's better to be dead but live in the minds of people. It's actually so bloody sad. Every time I watch the movie and hear the words, like, it makes you think about like, oh, Candyman, you tragic motherfucker. Because it is. It's horrible. His story. Did you know Tony Todd also made up his story? You probably do because you also do a lot of research. But Tony Todd came up with a backstory for Candyman.
Oh, nice.
Like,
I didn't hear about that. So I know the real backstory.
Yeah.
I didn't know what Tony Todd came up with.
Yeah, no. Like, no, yeah, you know what Candyman is based on. But like the lure of like, where he's like, father was a slave and he was brought up and the whole thing. Like, because that only comes in the second movie, right? It's not like
Yeah, you see the
it's a
flashback
bit
in the
set in
second
the
film.
yeah, but it's the